There are two main things to look at: the duration of the marriage and the balancing between the needs of the party who doesn't have a high income and the ability to pay of the party who has the higher income. The years of marriage, that's pretty straightforward. What's today's date? When did you get married? Easy. The balancing between need and ability to pay, though, that we're going to have to put together a whole budget. We're going to have to look at your pay stubs and the other side's pay stubs, and if they won't give those pay stubs, we are going to get it from them through a process called discovery. They have to provide that, and we're going to force them to do that. Once we have their income, your income, we'll look at the expenses. So rent, utilities, car payments, transportation, food, all these things. Once we have a full budget of the income minus the expenses, if there's a deficit with one party and a surplus with the other party, and it's been a marriage that's been going on for a while, then alimony is probably an issue that needs to be addressed in the divorce. However, if both parties make the same amount of money and they've been working the whole time during the marriage, or they've only been married for a year, then those are circumstances where it's not worth your time to really address alimony. So there are two kinds of alimony, actually. So there is a lump sum. This is what it's called, a lump sum alimony, which it doesn't have to be a lump sum. What the court defines as lump sum is from the day of the divorce decree, you can calculate to the penny exactly how much money is going to be paid out. What that normally looks like is X amount of dollars for X amount of months. Multiply that out, that's your lump sum. With lump sum alimony, that cannot be modified, okay? So you're stuck with it. If you agree to it or the judge orders it, it's going to be paid until the end, and that's that. If the person paying the alimony loses their job and goes destitute, that obligation just keeps accruing. The other type of alimony is called permanent alimony. Permanent alimony is when there is something that some kind of provision in the alimony paragraph of the divorce that makes it where the alimony is contingent on something. Or another form of permanent alimony is one that doesn't have an end date. So you can't calculate exactly how much is going to be paid as of the date of the divorce. One provision of alimony that's very common is, hey, I want to stop paying alimony if they get remarried. They got somebody else supporting them. But you got to watch out, because that provision creates a possibility that alimony will stop at some point in the future. So on the date of the divorce, you don't know that exact number. You don't know how many years. You don't know how many months, because it could be stopped early. And so by putting that stipulation in there, you make that alimony modifiable. And here is the potential danger in that. So if you're the person paying alimony, what if all of a sudden you double your income? Then your ex-spouse might be able to come back and try to modify alimony. On the other hand, it may give you a benefit too, because what if you lose your job and you're no longer able to pay alimony? Then you can seek a modification to have it decreased. So there are risks and rewards to both of them. There's no clear answer on which one is better. One's more certain than the other. So lump sum alimony is more certain. Permanent alimony leaves room for modification later. You can actually protect your income in an alimony negotiation by paying money as an equitable division of property instead of labeling it as alimony. All right? Because equitable division of property cannot be modified. There are ways to protect your income in alimony negotiations. One very, very important topic when it comes to alimony is adultery. If a spouse commits adultery, they cannot get alimony. So if you've got any evidence of adultery, that is going to be key and essential to winning your case and protecting your income as far as alimony goes. And so make sure to bring that evidence to court. All right, it can't just be on your computer at home. So in your divorce, you actually have the right to ask your spouse questions under oath. And then you also have the right to request documents from them under oath. And documents include things like exports of all of your social media on Facebook. So you can make them go to Facebook and download everything that's been added, deleted, everything to their social media accounts. And we can gather that information. We can send them direct questions, about, have you slept with another person other than your spouse during your marriage? And they have to answer. They have to answer under oath. And it's really fun to catch somebody in a lie. If we can get them to say that there's no adultery, and then you bring us proof of that adultery, the judge ain't going to believe anything else that they say. All right? So we've got tools to be able to prove that, to be able to gather evidence, and to be able to fight that. And in your alimony negotiations, if we take that and slap it down right in front of them, that's going to give you a lot of leverage, because not only do they not want to go to court to be embarrassed, but if they're seeking alimony, even though they've cheated, then they could be punished and be made to pay your attorney's fees because they wasted the court's time on asking for alimony knowing that they had cheated. And so those are some things that you can do to protect your income in alimony negotiations.